packed my bags in 15 minutes and caught the first flight to Miami. My heart raced with excitement thinking about surprising my sweet daughter Sarah. But when I arrived, I found her fighting for her life in the hospital while her husband was throwing parties on an expensive boat. What I did next changed everything forever. I'll tell you everything. First, let me thank you for watching Granny's Voice. Please subscribe and tell us where you're watching from in the comments. We might give you a shout out in our next video. Today's special shout out goes to Doris Marie Jones from Tustin, California, USA. Thank you for being part of our family. Now, let me tell you everything. I grabbed my purse and rushed to the airport, my shoes clicking on the cold tile floor. The airplane seats felt cramped as I fidgeted nervously, clutching the small teddy bear I'd bought for my grandson Tommy. 2 whole years had passed since I'd seen Sarah in person. Too long for any mother. I kept looking at the family photo in my phone case. Sarah laughing while pushing little Sophie on the swing. Tommy building sandcastles at the beach. My daughter looked so happy then, so full of life. But something felt different about our last phone call. She seemed distant, worried about something she wouldn't share. The flight attendant announced we were landing soon, and my stomach fluttered with butterflies. I'd surprise my family just like my own mother used to surprise me when I was young. Back then, unexpected visits meant cookies and stories and extra bedtime hugs. I imagined Sarah's face when she opened the door. Imagined the children jumping into my arms. But mothers have special feelings about their children, and something deep inside me whispered that this visit would be different than I planned. Miami Airport buzzed with travelers heading home or starting vacations. I watched families reuniting at the baggage area, children running to grandparents with squeals of joy. Soon that would be me and my grandchildren. I climbed into a taxi and gave the driver Sarah's address, my hands trembling slightly with anticipation. The driver smiled in his mirror. "Family visit?" he asked kindly. "Going to surprise my daughter and grandkids," I replied, trying to calm my racing heart. Something felt wrong, but I couldn't name it. The Miami streets looked different than I remembered. More buildings, more traffic, but the same warm sunshine that had drawn Sarah here after college. She'd always loved the ocean, spent hours collecting seashells as a little girl. Her husband Marcus had promised to give her the beach life she dreamed of. I tried calling her cell phone twice, then stopped myself. No point ruining the surprise. Better to see her shocked, happy face when she opened the door. The taxi turned onto her street, past palm trees and neat houses. The driver pulled up to a pretty blue house with white trim, exactly like Sarah had described in our video calls. I paid him and stood on the sidewalk as he drove away, breathing in the salty air that meant we were close to the ocean. I walked up the pathway, noticing the flowers in the front garden looked thirsty. Strange. Sarah loved gardening almost as much as she loved her children. The porch swing sat empty, no toys scattered around like usual. Where were Tommy's trucks and Sophie's dolls? I rang the doorbell and waited, listening for the sound of little feet running to answer. But the house stayed quiet. Too quiet. I rang again, pressing my ear to the door. No children laughing, no television playing cartoons, no sounds of a busy family. "Sarah, honey, it's Mom," I called out, knocking gently. Maybe they were napping or playing in the backyard. But when I walked around the house, I found empty lawn chairs and toys left outside in the rain. Something was very wrong. The neighbor's dog started barking, and I saw an older woman watering her plants next door. "Excuse me," I called over the fence. "Have you seen the Peterson family lately?" She looked up, shading her eyes from the sun. "Oh, you must be Sarah's mother. She talks about you all the time." Her smile faded. "But I haven't seen them in weeks. Very quiet over there lately. Usually those children are playing outside every morning." My chest tightened with worry. I sat on Sarah's front steps, trying to think clearly. The mailbox overflowed with letters and packages that nobody had collected. Some had fallen onto the wet grass and gotten ruined by recent rain. Picked up a few pieces. Doctor bills, pharmacy notices, insurance paperwork. All addressed to Sarah. All recent. All unopened. The dates made my blood run cold. These were the kind of letters that came when someone was very sick. Letters Sarah had been too weak to open herself. I found the spare key under the turtle statue where Sarah always hid it, my hands shaking as I unlocked the front door. The house felt cold and empty. Dishes sat unwashed in the sink. Toys lay scattered on the living room floor like the children had been called away suddenly. On the kitchen counter, I found medicine bottles with Sarah's name. Cancer medication. Chemotherapy pills. The dates showed she'd been fighting this battle for months. Alone. While I thought she was just busy with work and family. My phone rang with Sarah's ringtone, but when I answered, a man's voice spoke instead. "Hello, is this Mrs. Johnson?" he asked professionally. "Yes, I'm Sarah's mother." "Who is this?" "This is Dr. Martinez from Miami General Hospital. I'm calling about your daughter. She's been asking for her family, but we couldn't reach anyone on her emergency contact list." My legs gave out and I sat heavily on Sarah's couch. "Hospital? What happened? Is she okay?" The doctor's voice was gentle but serious. "Mrs. Johnson, Sarah has been receiving treatment for advanced cancer. Her condition became critical yesterday and she was admitted to intensive care. She's stable now, but she's been very worried about her children and keeps asking why nobody has come to see her. I felt like I was drowning. Cancer. She never told me. Where are Tommy and Sophie? Where is Marcus? I can only share information about Sarah, but I strongly recommend you come immediately. She needs her family." I hung up and called another taxi, my mind spinning with fear and confusion. How had my healthy, happy daughter been fighting cancer without telling me? Where was Marcus when she needed him most? The ride to the hospital felt endless. I stared out the window at people enjoying normal Tuesday afternoons, shopping and walking dogs and living lives where mothers didn't learn their daughters were dying from strangers on the phone. I should have known. Mothers are supposed to sense these things. Miami General Hospital rose before me like a white mountain, all glass and steel and modern efficiency. Inside, families waited in lobbies, some crying, some laughing, all dealing with a roller coaster of hope and fear that hospitals bring. I approached the information desk with shaking hands. "Intensive care unit," I managed. "My daughter Sarah Peterson." The nurse checked her computer. "7th floor. Dr. Martinez is expecting you." The elevator ride up felt like traveling to another planet. Dr. Martinez met me at the ICU doors, a kind man with tired eyes who'd probably delivered too much bad news to too many families. "Mrs. Johnson, I'm glad you're here. Sarah has been asking for you constantly since she arrived." He led me down a hallway lined with rooms full of beeping machines and worried families. "The cancer spread faster than we expected, but she's responding well to the new treatment. Having family support will help tremendously." I nodded, afraid to speak because I might start crying. Room 714 contained my entire world. Sarah lay connected to tubes and monitors, but when she saw me, her face lit up like sunrise. "Mama," she whispered, and I rushed to her bedside, careful not to disturb the medical equipment as I gathered her into the gentlest hug of my life. She felt so small, so fragile, like the little girl who used to crawl into my bed during thunderstorms. "I'm here, baby girl," I whispered into her hair. "Mama's here now. I wanted to tell you," she cried softly. "But you've been so sad since Daddy died, and I thought I could handle this alone. I thought Marcus would help, but he just disappeared when things got scary." My heart broke into 1,000 pieces. While I'd been mourning my husband, my daughter had been fighting for her life, trying to protect me from more pain. "Where are the children?" I asked, smoothing her blanket. "With my friend Lisa. She's been watching them for days. Marcus said he had business trips." I held her hand while she told me about the diagnosis, the treatments, the nights when she'd driven herself to the emergency room because Marcus claimed he was too tired to help. Each detail felt like a knife in my chest. My baby had been suffering while her husband made excuses and disappeared when she needed him most. "When did you last see Marcus?" I asked carefully. 3 days ago. He said he needed space to think about our future. Said the medical bills were stressing him out. Space to think. While his wife was in intensive care. I excused myself to make phone calls, stepping into the hallway where other families held their own vigils. Marcus's phone went straight to voicemail. Marcus, this is Helen. I'm at the hospital with Sarah. Call me immediately. I waited 10 minutes, then called again. Nothing. The third time I left a different message. Marcus, I know you're avoiding my calls. But your wife is dying and your children need their father. Answer your phone. Still no response. I walked to the hospital cafeteria, buying coffee I didn't want while my mind raced with questions. Marcus had always been charming, smooth-talking, the kind of man who could convince you that black was white if it served his purpose. Sarah had fallen for his charm at 25, believing his promises about building a beautiful life together. But charm fades when real life gets difficult. And apparently so did Marcus. Where was he while Sarah suffered alone? I pulled out my phone and opened Facebook, searching for Marcus's profile. The first thing I saw made my coffee cup slip from my hands. Posted 2 hours ago. A video of Marcus on a boat, arms around people I didn't recognize, music thumping in the background. The caption read, "Living the dream with amazing friends." The location tag showed he was somewhere in Miami Beach. Less than 20 miles from where his wife was connected to life support machines. I scrolled through more posts from the past week. Marcus at expensive restaurants. Marcus at beach clubs. Marcus toasting with champagne glasses that probably cost more than most people's grocery budget. Every single photo showed him enjoying life while Sarah fought cancer alone. My hands shook with rage as I saved screenshots, building evidence of his betrayal. How was he paying for this lifestyle? Marcus worked in sales, made decent money but not yacht party money. That's when I remembered the emergency fund. Last year, when Sarah mentioned they were struggling with daycare costs, I'd set up a special account that Marcus could access if they needed help. Just for real emergencies, I'd told them. Child care, medical bills, house repairs. I trusted Marcus to use it responsibly because I trusted Sarah's judgment in choosing him. Now I realized I'd been funding his party lifestyle while my daughter suffered without proper support. I called my bank from the hospital parking lot, standing in the humid Miami evening air. This is Helen Johnson. I need to check recent activity on my emergency family account. The representative pulled up my information. Mrs. Johnson, I show several large withdrawals over the past month. Marina rentals, high-end restaurants, luxury car services. Are these authorized transactions? Each item felt like a slap across my face. Remove Marcus Peterson's access immediately. Transfer all remaining funds to my personal account. That's a significant change, Mrs. Johnson. Are you sure? Completely sure. And I want to be notified if he tries to access any of my accounts. Within minutes, Marcus's financial safety net disappeared. The man who'd abandoned my dying daughter would now face the consequences of his choices. I returned to Sarah's room, where she was awake and trying to eat some hospital soup. "How are you feeling, sweetheart?" I asked, taking her hand. "Better now that you're here, Mama." "Sarah, honey, I need to ask you something important. Has Marcus been helping with expenses? Has he been taking care of the bills?" She looked embarrassed. "He said he had everything handled. Said I shouldn't worry about money while I was sick. But lately, when I ask about the account you set up for us, he gets angry and says it's none of my business." My heart sank. Marcus had been lying to her while stealing from both of us, playing the concerned husband while living off my generosity. A nurse came in to check Sarah's medicine, and I stepped outside to call Marcus again. This time someone answered on the second ring. "Helen." His voice sounded strange, nervous. "Marcus, where are you?" Kept my voice steady. "I'm with Sarah at the hospital. She's been asking for you." There was loud music in the background, people laughing and talking. "Oh yeah, I've been meaning to visit. Just got caught up with some business meetings. You know how it is. Business meetings with champagne and boat rentals. Marcus, your wife is in intensive care. She almost died yesterday. These aren't casual visits. She needs her husband. The background noise continued, completely inappropriate for someone whose wife was critically ill. Look, Helen, I appreciate you flying down, but Sarah's stronger than you think. She doesn't need me hovering around making things worse. The doctors have everything under control. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Making things worse. She's your wife. She's scared and alone. You don't understand the pressure I've been under, Marcus said defensively. The medical bills, the stress, watching her get sicker every day. I needed a break to clear my head and figure out how to handle all this. Break. While his wife fought cancer. Marcus, I saw your social media posts. You're on a yacht with friends, not in business meetings. Silence, then nervous laughter. Okay, so I'm taking a few days to decompress. So what? I deserve some peace after everything I've been through. Everything he'd been through. As if Sarah's cancer was happening to him. How are you paying for these yacht parties, Marcus? Sarah mentioned you've been handling the finances. Another pause, longer this time. That's between me and my wife, Helen. Our money situation isn't your concern. But it was my concern because it was my money. My emergency fund, meant for Sarah's medical needs, was financing his escape from responsibility. I decided not to reveal what I knew yet. Better to let him dig his hole deeper. When are you coming to see your wife? Asked. Soon, he said vaguely. Maybe tomorrow or the day after. I'm in the middle of some important networking that could really help our financial situation. Networking on a yacht while his wife was connected to oxygen machines. What about Tommy and Sophie? They need their father. Kids are resilient. They'll be fine with their babysitter for a few more days. I hung up before I said something I might regret. This man had shown me exactly who he was. I returned to Sarah's bedside, where she was dozing fitfully. The machines around her beeped steadily, monitoring every heartbeat, every breath. She looked so young lying there, like the little girl who used to have tea parties with her stuffed animals. I'd protected her from scraped knees and bullies and broken hearts throughout her childhood. But I'd failed to protect her from the biggest danger of all, a selfish husband who'd abandon her when she needed him most. Sarah woke up and squeezed my hand weakly. Mama, I'm scared, she admitted. Not about the cancer anymore. About what happens to the kids if I don't get better. Marcus keeps talking about how hard this is for him, but he never talks about Tommy and Sophie. My heart ached for her. Even while fighting for her life, she was worried about everyone else. Don't worry about that right now, sweetheart. Focus on getting strong. I'll handle everything else. That evening, while Sarah slept, I scrolled through Marcus's social media again. New posts from his yacht adventure. Videos of him diving into crystal blue water. Photos of expensive seafood dinners with friends who clearly had no idea his wife was in the hospital. The timestamp showed these were posted while I was holding Sarah's hand during her chemotherapy session. While she was throwing up from treatment, he was throwing parties. The contrast made me physically sick. I called my bank again, this time requesting a complete transaction history for the emergency account. The representative read off item after item. Luxury hotel charges, expensive restaurant bills, boat rental fees, designer shopping trips. Over $30,000 in the past 6 weeks alone. All while Sarah was too sick to work, while medical bills piled up, while she worried about money for her children's basic needs. Marcus had been living like a king on my dime. The next morning brought new horror. A nurse mentioned that Sarah's medical insurance had been cancelled due to non-payment. But her husband said he was handling all the financial matters, I told Dr. Martinez during his rounds. The doctor looked uncomfortable. Mrs. Johnson, I can't comment on family situations, but I can tell you that several of Sarah's bills have gone unpaid while she's been here. We've been trying to reach her emergency contacts about payment arrangements. Emergency contacts that included Marcus, who was too busy partying to answer. I marched to the hospital billing office, my grandmother's purse clutched tightly in my hands. I'm Sarah Peterson's mother. I want to pay every single bill immediately. The billing clerk looked relieved. Mrs. Johnson, there are outstanding charges for treatments, room fees, medication. The total is quite substantial. I don't care about the amount. My daughter shouldn't worry about money while she's fighting for her life. As I wrote check after check, my anger at Marcus burned hotter. Back in Sarah's room, I sat beside her bed while she played a game on her tablet, trying to distract herself from the pain. "Mama," she said quietly, "I found something yesterday that I need to show you." She handed me her phone with trembling fingers. The screen showed a text message conversation between her and Marcus from 3 days ago. "The kids are asking when Daddy's coming home," Sarah had written. Marcus replied, "Tell them Daddy needs space. This is too hard for me right now." 3 days ago, while Sarah was asking her husband to come home to their scared children, Marcus was already planning his yacht escape. The timestamp on his first boat post matched exactly with Sarah's unanswered text messages. He'd been ignoring her pleas for help while arranging his party vacation. "I kept thinking he just needed time to process everything," Sarah whispered. "That he'd come back when he was ready to fight this with me. But he's not coming back, is he?" I held my daughter close, feeling her heart beat against my chest. "Some people show their true character when life gets difficult, sweetheart. Marcus has shown you exactly who he is." My phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. "Helen, my credit card stopped working. Something's wrong with the bank. Can you check on that emergency account?" The audacity was breathtaking. He was asking me to fund his abandonment of my dying daughter. I screenshotted his message for evidence. Instead of responding to Marcus, I called the yacht rental company listed on his social media posts. "This is Mrs. Johnson. My son-in-law Marcus Peterson rented a boat today using my emergency credit card without permission. I need to report this as unauthorized use." The manager sounded annoyed. "Ma'am, Mr. Peterson's card was declined an hour ago. We're currently attempting to collect payment for services already rendered. If this is fraud, we'll need to file a police report." "Perfect. Let Marcus explain to the authorities why he was using stolen money for yacht parties while his wife fought cancer." I hung up feeling satisfied that justice was beginning to work its way through the system. My phone immediately rang with Marcus's number. "Helen, what did you do? The boat people are threatening to call the police. My cards aren't working and I'm stranded at the marina." His panic was beautiful music to my ears. "You're stranded? How interesting." "This isn't funny," Marcus sputtered. "I need access to that account." Sarah agreed I could use it for business purposes. "Business purposes? Like abandoning your sick wife for yacht parties?" My voice stayed calm, controlled. "Marcus, you've been stealing money meant for Sarah's medical care while she fought cancer alone. That's not business, that's theft." "It's not theft. I'm her husband. What's hers is mine. What's mine is not yours. And you're about to learn that lesson the hard way." Through the phone, I could hear Marcus's world collapsing in real time. Voices arguing about payment. Security guards being called. Friends suddenly remembering other places they needed to be. The party was over, literally and figuratively. "Helen, please," Marcus begged. "I made mistakes, but I can fix this. I'll come to the hospital right now. I'll be the husband Sarah deserves." "It's too late for that," I said simply. "You had months to be that husband. You chose parties instead." I hung up and blocked his number, then returned to Sarah's room with a lighter heart. She was awake, looking out the window at the Miami skyline. "Was that Marcus?" she asked without turning around. "He called about some financial issues," I replied carefully. "Mama, I heard you talking. I know what he's been doing with your money." She turned to face me, and I saw something I hadn't seen in her eyes since childhood. Relief at knowing someone would fight for her. "I feel so stupid for trusting him," Sarah said. "For believing his lies about business trips and networking events. But I was too sick to check, too tired to question anything." "You're not stupid, baby. You were focused on surviving cancer, which is exactly what you should have been doing. Marcus was supposed to handle everything else, and he failed you completely." I squeezed her hand. "But that's over now. No more lies, no more broken promises. Just healing. A new nurse entered to change Sarah's medication, and during the quiet moment, my phone buzzed with texts from unknown numbers. Marcus's friends, apparently, asking if there had been some mistake with the payment situation. Your son-in-law owes our company $15,000 for yacht rental, one message read. We're pursuing legal action unless payment is received immediately. I forwarded the message to my lawyer back home. Let Marcus explain his priorities to a judge. Mama, Sarah said when we were alone again, I need to tell you something else. Marcus has been telling people that my cancer is fake, that I'm making it up for attention. He told his friends I was just being dramatic about being tired. The cruelty was bottomless. He's been embarrassed by my illness, like it reflects badly on him somehow. Said it makes him look bad when his wife is bald and skinny. I felt my protective instincts surge like a mama bear defending her cub. Baby girl, there is nothing embarrassing about fighting cancer. You are the strongest, bravest person I know. I stroked her soft hair, which was just beginning to grow back. Any man who can't see that strength doesn't deserve to call himself your husband. I know that now, she whispered. But it took getting this sick to see it clearly. When someone you love abandons you during your darkest hour, you learn who they really are underneath all the pretty words. My phone rang again, Marcus, calling from yet another number. Helen, this is an emergency. The yacht company called the police. I need money for a lawyer. That sounds like a personal problem, I replied calmly. Your wife needs a lawyer too, a divorce lawyer. You can't be serious. We can work this out like adults. Adults don't abandon their sick wives for boat parties, Marcus. Adults don't steal money meant for medical bills. Adults don't lie to children about why daddy disappeared. I never meant for things to go this far, Marcus said, his voice breaking. The stress was overwhelming. I needed an outlet, a way to cope with watching Sarah get sicker. You don't understand what it's like being married to someone with cancer. I understand what it's like loving someone with cancer, I shot back. It means you hold their hand during chemo. It means you comfort them when they're scared. It means you sacrifice your yacht parties to pay their medical bills. Through the phone, I could hear Marcus crying now, the full weight of his situation finally hitting him. No more credit cards. No more access to my money. No more yacht parties or expensive dinners. Just the reality of what he'd done and the consequences waiting for him. Where am I supposed to go? He sobbed. What am I supposed to do? Figure it out, I said. The same way Sarah figured out how to get to chemotherapy appointments when you were too busy to drive her. I spent the next hour with Sarah, helping her eat and talking about her treatment plan. Dr. Martinez was optimistic about her response to the new medication. With proper support and reduced stress, patients often show remarkable improvement, he'd explained. Family support is crucial for recovery. Sarah was getting that support now. Marcus's abandonment had been removed from the equation like a cancer that needed cutting out. Sometimes healing requires removing toxic elements from your life. Mama, Sarah said as evening approached, I want to see Tommy and Sophie tomorrow. Do you think you could bring them here? Of course, baby. They've been worried about you. I'd already called Lisa, Sarah's friend who'd been watching the children. They were confused about where their father had gone, but they were more concerned about their mother. Tomorrow we'll start making new plans. Plans that don't include people who run away when life gets hard. That night, I slept in the uncomfortable hospital chair beside Sarah's bed, listening to her breathe and watching her monitor numbers stay stable. Every few hours, nurses would check on her, adjusting medication and offering quiet encouragement. These medical professionals had been her primary support system while Marcus played on boats. They'd shown more care and concern than her own husband. Some families are born, others are chosen. The next morning brought sunshine through the hospital window and Sarah's first real smile in days. Tommy and Sophie burst into the room like small tornadoes, carefully climbing onto her bed for gentle hugs. Mommy, we missed you so much, Sophie said, her small hands patting Sarah's cheeks. Are you going to get better soon? Yes, baby girl. Grandma's here to help now, and everything's going to be okay. The children accepted this explanation with the trust that only innocent hearts possess. While the children played quietly with toys I'd brought from home, my phone buzzed with a call from my lawyer. Helen, I've reviewed the documents you sent. Marcus's unauthorized use of your funds while abandoning his sick wife creates a strong case for financial abuse. Combined with the abandonment of minor children, we can file for emergency custody if needed. The law was on our side, as it should be when someone steals money meant for medical care. Grandma, Tommy asked, when is Daddy coming home? He's been gone for a really long time. Sarah and I exchanged glances over his head. How do you explain to a 6-year-old that his father chose selfishness over family? Daddy made some bad choices, sweetheart, Sarah said gently. Sometimes grown-ups make mistakes that hurt the people they love. But Grandma and I are going to take care of you and Sophie no matter what happens. Simple truth, age-appropriate, honest. Dr. Martinez stopped by during afternoon rounds, smiling when he saw the children coloring pictures for their mother. Family support is the best medicine, he told me privately. Sarah's numbers have improved significantly since you arrived. Stress was making her condition worse, but now that she feels secure and loved, her body is responding better to treatment. Love and security. 2 things Marcus had stolen along with my money. 2 things we were giving back in abundance. That evening, Marcus called from the police station. Helen, I've been arrested for fraud. The yacht company pressed charges when my payment methods failed. I need bail money. That's unfortunate, I replied. Perhaps you should call someone who hasn't spent the last 6 months watching you abandon their dying daughter. Please, I'm desperate. I have nowhere else to turn. You should have thought about that before you chose yacht parties over family responsibilities. I'll do anything to make this right. There's nothing to make right, Marcus. You made your choices. Live with them. I hung up and turned off my phone, focusing instead on Sarah and the children. We ordered pizza for dinner, eating it in her hospital room while the kids told stories about school and friends. Normal family moments, the kind Marcus had been too selfish to appreciate. The kind that matter more than any yacht party or expensive restaurant. The kind that create real memories worth treasuring. 3 months later, Sarah was declared in remission. The cancer had responded beautifully to treatment once she had proper support and reduced stress. We moved back to my hometown, where Sarah could focus on healing while I helped with the children. The divorce papers arrived on a Tuesday, signed by Marcus from whatever cheap motel he was living in now. Sarah signed them without tears. Some chapters of life end with relief, not sadness. Grandma, can you push us on the swing? Sophie called from the backyard of our new house. The same backyard where I'd pushed Sarah 30 years ago. Full circle moments that prove some things never change. The love between mothers and daughters, the laughter of children at play, the satisfaction of protecting family from people who would hurt them. I walked outside to where Sarah was planting a vegetable garden. Her energy fully restored. Any regrets? I asked, watching her hands work the soil with the same gentle care she'd always shown everything she loved. About leaving Miami. About the divorce. About letting you handle Marcus. She stood up, brushing dirt from her hands, looking healthier and happier than she had in years. My only regret is not calling you sooner. Not trusting that my mother would drop everything to help me. I wasted too much time trying to handle everything alone. You were protecting me, I said, understanding finally why she'd hidden her illness. After your father died, you thought I was too fragile to handle more bad news. But mothers are strongest when their children need them. I should have remembered that. She hugged me tight, and I smelled sunshine and soil and hope in her hair. You would have caught his lies immediately. Mothers see through charm to character. That afternoon, my phone buzzed with a final call from Marcus. This time, his voice was completely broken. Helen, I lost everything. The police released me, but I have no money, no place to stay, no way to get home. My friends won't return my calls after what happened at the marina. I listened to his desperation with complete calm. The yacht company is suing me for fraud. My reputation is ruined. People are posting about what I did on social media. My boss fired me when he found out about the arrest. Let the whole world know what happens when you abandon sick family members. I know I made terrible mistakes, Marcus continued. But I never meant to hurt Sarah or the kids. I was just scared and overwhelmed. Can't you understand that? I understand fear, I replied. I understand being overwhelmed. I don't understand stealing money from your wife's medical fund to throw parties while she fights for her life. I'll pay everything back, I swear. Just give me another chance. You had your chance every single day for 6 months. You wasted every one. The next morning brought the best news we'd received in months. Dr. Martinez entered Sarah's room with a huge smile. The latest scans show significant improvement. The tumor has shrunk considerably, and your blood work looks better than we've seen since you started treatment. Sarah burst into tears of joy, and Tommy and Sophie danced around the room cheering for their mother. Does this mean Mommy's going to be okay? Sophie asked. It means Mommy's getting much, much better, the doctor confirmed. We celebrated with ice cream in the hospital cafeteria, the children chattering excitedly about plans for when Mommy came home. Can we have a garden like Grandma's? Tommy asked. Can we get a puppy? Sophie added. We can have anything that makes us happy, Sarah promised, her face glowing with health and hope. Anything except yacht parties, I added, making the children giggle even though they didn't understand the reference. Some jokes are just for adults. 2 weeks later, Sarah was discharged from the hospital. I drove her home to my house, where the children had helped me prepare a welcome party with balloons and homemade cookies. This feels like coming back to life, Sarah said, standing in my kitchen where she'd learned to bake as a little girl. Not just surviving but actually living again. The contrast with her marriage was stark. Real love versus selfish pretense. Genuine care versus abandonment disguised as stress management. Marcus called one last time, 3 weeks after the yacht incident. His voice hollow and desperate. Helen, I'm living in my car. I lost my apartment when I couldn't pay rent. My job is gone. My friends won't speak to me. Everyone knows what I did. That's called consequences, I replied. They tend to follow actions, especially selfish ones. I want to see my children. I have parental rights. You gave up those rights when you abandoned them during their mother's cancer treatment. Please, Marcus begged. I know I made mistakes, but I love Tommy and Sophie. Can change. I can be better. Love is action, not words. You had hundreds of opportunities to show love and chose parties instead. Your children deserve better than a father who disappears when life gets difficult. What am I supposed to do with my life now? Learn from your mistakes. Become a better person. Maybe someday, years from now, if you truly change, we can discuss supervised visits. But that's a very big maybe. I hung up and looked around my kitchen, where Sarah was teaching Sophie how to make pancakes while Tommy built towers with wooden blocks. Normal family moments. The kind Marcus had traded away for temporary pleasures. The kind that build real memories and genuine happiness. Grandma, Emma called, running in from the backyard. The roses you planted are blooming. Through the window, I could see the new garden Sarah and I had started together. Symbols of growth and renewal after surviving the storm. 6 months later, Sarah received her final clean scan. Cancer-free, the doctors declared, with an excellent prognosis for staying healthy. We celebrated at her favorite restaurant, the one where she'd had her first job as a teenager. I never thought I'd get to see my children grow up, she said, watching Tommy and Sophie share a chocolate dessert. Now I can't wait to see what amazing people they become. They're learning strength from their mother, I observed. That's the best gift you can give them. Mama, Sarah said quietly while the children played in the restaurant's small arcade. Do you ever think about Marcus? Wonder how his life turned out. I think he's learning that actions have consequences. Whether he becomes a better person from that education is up to him. I hope he does change, Sarah said. Not for me that ship sailed, but for his own sake. Living with the knowledge of what you did to people who loved you must be its own kind of prison. The truth was, I didn't think about Marcus much anymore. Once the immediate threat to my family was neutralized, he became irrelevant to our daily happiness. We were too busy building new traditions, creating positive memories, and celebrating Sarah's recovery to waste energy on someone who'd proven himself unworthy of our consideration. Some people earn their place in your life story. Others write themselves out through their own poor choices. A year after that terrible phone call from the hospital, our new normal had taken shape. Sarah started her own graphic design business, working from home so she could be present for the children's needs. I moved closer to help with childcare and continue my role as family protector. Tommy and Sophie thrived in their new school, surrounded by teachers who understood their family had overcome something difficult together. Resilience became our family superpower. "Grandma," Sophie said one evening as we watched sunset from our front porch, "I'm glad Mommy got better. And I'm glad you came to save us." "I didn't save you, sweetie. Your mother saved herself by being brave enough to fight her sickness. I just helped clear away the people who were making things harder. Like the mean man who went away. Like the mean man who went away." Some conversations require simple truth, and children understand justice better than adults sometimes admit. The legal proceedings concluded quietly. Marcus signed away his parental rights in exchange for avoiding jail time for financial fraud. The yacht company dropped their lawsuit when my lawyer proved the charges were made with stolen funds. Marcus disappeared from our lives as completely as if he'd never existed, leaving behind only expensive lessons about trusting the wrong people and the importance of family loyalty when crisis strikes. Some endings are exactly what they should be. I kept the emergency fund active, but under my control alone now. Money set aside for real emergencies. Sarah's continued medical monitoring, the children's education, unexpected expenses that life brings to every family. But never again would I give financial access to someone who might choose personal pleasure over family responsibility. Trust, once broken by betrayal, must be rebuilt slowly and proven through consistent action over time. "Mama," Sarah said one morning while we drank coffee and watched the children play in our new backyard, "I learned something important from everything that happened. I learned that strength isn't about handling everything alone. It's about knowing who will stand with you when life gets scary, and who will run away when things get difficult. You also learned that your mother will always fight for you, no matter how old you get or how far away you live." The final gift came unexpectedly. Dr. Martinez called to tell us that Sarah's case had been featured in a medical journal as an example of how family support affects cancer recovery. "Her improvement once stress was reduced was remarkable," he explained. "She's helping other families understand that healing involves more than just medical treatment." Sarah's suffering had become a source of hope for other patients facing similar battles with both illness and abandonment. 2 years later, Sarah remarried. A kind teacher who'd lost his own wife to cancer years earlier. Someone who understood the preciousness of health and family, who treated Sarah and the children like treasures instead of burdens. Their wedding was small and perfect, held in my backyard under fairy lights, surrounded only by people who'd proven their love through action rather than words. The children served as flower girl and ring bearer, giggling through the entire ceremony. This is what victory looks like in real life. Not the dramatic moment when the bad guy gets caught, though Marcus's arrest had been satisfying. Real victory is quiet Tuesday mornings when everyone is healthy and safe and happy. It's children who trust that the adults in their lives will protect them. It's daughters who know their mothers will drop everything to fight for them. It's the ordinary moments that follow extraordinary challenges. As I write this story, Sarah is cancer-free for 3 years running. Tommy plays Little League baseball and wants to be a doctor when he grows up. Sophie takes dance lessons and dreams of becoming a teacher like her stepfather. They rarely ask about Marcus anymore, having learned that some people simply exit your life and leave room for better people to enter. Children adapt to love much easier than they adapt to fear. If this story touched your heart, please like this video and subscribe to Granny's Voice for more stories about family, love, and standing up for what's right. Share your own thoughts about protecting family in the comments below. Remember, sometimes the strongest thing you can do is cut toxic people out of your life completely. Until next time, this is Granny reminding you that family loyalty should never be taken for granted. Thank you for listening.